Pastor Richie talks about grace all the time. And it's a different concept because when you're in a legalistic church, there's a lot of judgment because you're not allowed to do certain things. And so they would talk about grace, but it was only if you did these steps, and if you looked holy, and if your skirts were long enough, and if your hair was uncut, and then you get grace. I'm married almost 15 years to Jonathan, and grew up in Sunday school together, and then we ended up going to the same middle school all the way through high school together. So then he asked me to be his girlfriend when we were 13, and the rest is history. We would always go to youth camps together and youth congress, and very much involved in the church. We were there, I'll see, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Friday nights, sometimes Saturdays, and then Sunday morning and Sunday nights services. So lots of time at church, and we got really burnt out, but we didn't want to, make the impression that we were backslid, because if you don't go, then something wrong with you. And kind of some of the fear tactics and that they use, like, if you leave this organization, you'll never feel the presence of God like you feel here. Your kids are gonna get addicted to drugs. Just all these things that they tell you if you leave, and I didn't really buy into that anymore, and we just became more and more miserable. We didn't want to go anymore, and there's really no specific reason that I can point out that made us feel that way, but yeah, we didn't want to go. Okay. I think my worst fear was and not being able to feel God. And if you were taught that if we leave that organization, then you're not going to heaven because they have the truth. It's the only truth. And to think that I could have salvation elsewhere was kind of a foreign thing. And I knew that everyone that I loved, I knew what they'd think about us. And so it took us a long time to finally go for it and leave. And I got a few messages after we left. One really hard one was a mother of one of our youth who just couldn't believe that I was compromising and, where I was leading my children, and it was hard to hear. But I just, that's the way we're taught to believe, and so I can't really hold it against them. I hope our friends and family who are still in Pentecost, I hope that they can look at us and see our growth and progress and think maybe that could be them too, and that maybe they could find freedom. We visited about 8 or 9 churches during 2020. I think Emerald Fellowship was either the 3rd or 4th church that we visited. And after that, we would go visit another church, and then we'd come back to Amarillo Fellowship. And then we'd go visit another one and come back to Amarillo Fellowship, because I loved it there, and I knew from the beginning, like, this is where I want to be. Once December hit and we were coming every service, it took about 6 months before we signed up for a small group. And it's really helped us feel connected and develop friendships. So small groups are awesome. I'm looking forward to developing relationships even more and just getting more involved, and it feels like home. It feels like home now. Yeah. Before, I was never sure of my salvation, and that's really scary. So this whole concept of God loves you no matter what, and you're saved by faith through grace, it's new, and that took us a long time to really embrace, and it's just made me love God even more, and it's made me grateful. And sometimes I'm just overwhelmed by it. So yeah, it's amazing.
It is.